Patch 3.8 for Honkai Star Rail recently dropped, and with it came some meta shakeups, not just for endgame modes like the Memory of Chaos, but also most notably for this channel, various buffs to units, bonds, and items in the Currency War game mode. And instead of just reading off the patch notes and listing every change, I wanted to just go ahead and show you guys a comp that received a lot of love that you can try running even at the highest tiers of Wealth Creator and with trial characters as your carries. Now, you saw the thumbnail. It's the AoE comp centered around Anaxa and Big Herta. So let me explain how it works. For starters, the AoE bond receives some buffs that grant its units more lucky strike damage as you reach the higher bond tiers. That, compounded with maximizing your team's lucky strike chains with items, investment environments, and investment strategies, allows your units to hit hard enough to leave dents even within the Wealth Creator difficulty tier. However, the real magic comes from how this patch buffed character speeds relative to their unit cost. This allows 2 to 5 cost units to act much faster, even more so if you can get them to 2 or even 3 stars. And if you're familiar at all with popular item builds, you might see where I'm going with this. Anaxa functions as your main carry by utilizing the wheelchair core for his items. If you don't know what those are, it's the combination of anti-grav boots and the lightspeed propeller, and the way it works is that every turn your unit takes with the anti-grav boots gives them an additional 15% speed amplification, and because this stacks, anyone who quit with this is going to be schmoving. Furthermore, because the lightspeed propeller increases on-field and off-field strength by every 10 speed, your unit is going to be ramping in both speed and damage as the battle continues. Anaxa himself already had a pretty high base speed among the Currency War cast of characters, so he's getting that much faster with the buffs, which increases his effectiveness with the wheelchair core of items. Furthermore, it's a little easier to set Anaxa up with the right items because of his Day Demigod synergy, which can give him a free copy of the Lightspeed Propeller as long as you activate the synergy with 3 appropriate units. Early game, this will be Anaxa, Tribi, and Hyacinth, with Cyrene taking Hyacinth's place late game. Now, as you get into the later planes, you'll want some additional firepower, which is where Big Herta and the AoE bond synergy effect come into play. Because Anaxa is firing off so many AoE attacks, he simultaneously charges the AoE bond attack and Herta's ultimate, enabling the comp to get through the mid game and reach late game, where you'll want to pick up the last pieces of the puzzle. Jing Yuan to reach the 7th synergy for the AoE attack bond, and then Cyrene, who will provide buffs to your team as well as slot in for your 3rd daytime demigod. As such, setting up your board for this strat is relatively simple. It's a vertical bond synergy team comp, so you want to ultimately get 7 AoE online by fielding Herta, Jade, Tribi, Argenti, Anaxa, Big Herta, and Jing Yuan. Late game, Cyrene will provide both buffing for your team as well as function as your 3rd day demigod for Anaxa's Day Lightspeed Propeller. However, in order for you to field Cyrene and have survivability, you'll need to hit level 9 in order to swap Hyacinth out for Luocha. This also provides the added benefit of providing you with Luocha's Galactic Voyager off-field buff. For items, assembling the wheelchair core for Anaxa is really important for a successful run. This means you'll need, ideally, 4 pairs of roller skates to make 2 copies of the anti-grav boots. This allows Anaxa to reach ridiculous speeds to both function as a battery for your other damage dealers and also deal damage himself through his Day Lightspeed Propeller. Any on-field items that you make can go to Big Herta like Star Cleaver Blade, High Frequency Chainsaw, Firestorm Surge, or even the Bloodthirsty. It's also worth mentioning that creating a perpetual engine with 2 photon cells is incredibly helpful for letting Cyrene pop her ult at the start of a fight. Leftover folding knives and peace pistols can be made into weapon masters, and any leftover lucky stars and aether drills can be made into victory banners to further boost your team's lucky strike chance. Then, because this is a comp where items can make or break it, investment environments and strategies that supply you with items are really helpful if you want to try and force this comp. For investment environments, you have Descent of Gunpowder, Economic Overheat, and Economic Hyperheat as solid options. There's also a special shout out to AoE Attack Index Funds for providing you with a solid early game lineup, including Anaxa himself, to make getting the ball rolling that much easier. For investment strategies, you have options like IPC Armory Update and Free Market to give you more flexibility when obtaining equipment, and you also have options like Borrowed Power for potentially raising your ceiling for the comp by providing some extra damage to your AoE attack units. And as always, these aren't the only viable options for investment environments and strategies, but they do provide the blueprint for which ones can help you out the best. Speaking of blueprints, let me walk you through how to get a successful start going for this comp. Once you've selected your appropriate investment environment and strategy, there are a couple of starting boards that can work to get you through the first plane relatively smoothly. As always, a damage over time board can work due to the strength of the damage over time bond. In this scenario, Sampo can hold any of Anaxa's items and Kafka can hold any items meant for Herta. From there, you can slot in a sustain unit and start slowly building up the AoE comp around these two units. This will allow you to just save up your money, as your goal is to reach level 7 with 50 gold as soon as possible. This is honestly my preferred start, but if you want to try something different, another starting board option is to just start out utilizing the early game AoE attack bond units of Argenti, Tribi, Small Herta, and Jade. It's kind of awkward, but Tribi can technically hold Anaxa's items in this scenario, while Small Herta can hold Big Herta's items. Whichever kind of board you end up using to get through plane 1, you'll be aiming to hit level 7 with 50 gold at around 2-1 or 2-2 so that you can begin slow rolling for Anaxa. It's at this point that you want to make sure you have Tribi, Anaxa, and Hyacinth active on the field in order to also provide Anaxa his lightspeed propeller so he can also ramp up his damage. As you slow roll, if you find a copy of Big Herta, you can obviously slot her in on field, move Little Herta off field, and give her items to Big Herta to help you get through the plane 2 slump. Ideally, by the end of plane 2 going into plane 3, you should have, or should be at least close to having, a 3-star Anaxa. Once you get him, go ahead and level to level 8 to also slow roll for your 2-star Big Herta. Then, your goal by the end of plane 3 is to reach level 9 in order to find Jing Yuan, Cyrene, and Luocha. As a sidebar, I wouldn't necessarily hold any Luochas you find as you slow roll, especially if it'll drop you below an interest breakpoint. You can't feel them anyways unless you have Cyrene, so make sure you at least have her first before you buy a copy of him. Now, some final tips for running the comp from my experiences playing it. This comp is particularly susceptible to a specific enemy affix, self-defense, as it'll cause any of your on-field AoE characters to basically kill themselves in one hit. I consider this affix unplayable for this comp, so if you want to run it and see this affix, I'd honestly restart the run until you get one without it. Besides that, this comp kind of reaches a power trough around the end of plane 2, going into plane 3 if you're unable to hit your 3-star Anaxa in a timely manner. As such, if things are looking dire, it may be worth spending a bit more gold to roll even further to try and stabilize your run with a 3-star Anaxa and 2-star Herta, even if it means you dip below 30 gold. Now, I know a lot of you, myself included, like to use the in-game strategy compendium. So, as a late Christmas gift to you all, I went ahead and created one you can follow by entering this strategy code. If you try it out and like it, I'd appreciate it so much if you gave it a heart. It doesn't really mean anything, but it makes me feel good, so still do it. And that about does it for today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more Currency War and Honkai Star Rail videos. Let me know what team comps have been your favorite to run in the comments, and most importantly, have a blessed day.